So I finally got my Watts link, I shortened the bars, and I also boxed it in. So that's all done, and I just put my brackets, tacked them in place. That'll have to be welded on properly, but that's pretty much good to go. And for my cab mounts, I'm just drilling holes. Drilled holes in the mount, and then I drilled holes in the frame just to mount them on. And I'm also going to make a brace in the mount itself just so that it can't collapse. And I'm sure it'd be fine the way it is, but having it overbuilt is never a bad thing. I stripped the frame down to basically just the frame rails again, and that way I could weld everything up properly. I also welded the brackets on the rear end properly as well. I really took my time to weld these brackets. If you weld all this up in one shot, you risk bending the tube. So all this is ready to be sandblasted. It feels like we went backwards quite a ways just having the frame stripped down to basically just the rails again. But it's going to be worth it, and it's going to look 10 times better when it's all reassembled with primer. So before I sandblast and paint the frame, I made sure to take my measurements of where all the joints on the frame are, and that way if I ever want to make another one like this, I'll have all the measurements. It'll make it much easier and save a lot of time. So I'm going to get suited up and we'll start sandblasting. We're ready to go. So this side of the frame is sandblasted and done. I had to flip it around just so that it's in the sunlight to be able to see, because with the mask you can't see much, especially in the shade. Then once the chassis is done, I'll move over to the rear end and I'll make that look 10 times better. Wow, I don't know about you guys, but to me this looks like a whole new chassis. Night and day difference. I couldn't be any happier. I'm gonna clean up bits and pieces of the front end, then I'll start assembling it just to mock it up, see how it looks. Let's start with the spindles. A Ford logo on the spindle? What could I do with that? So now you can actually start to see how good the chassis is gonna look when it's all painted, and with the new arms, control arms upper and lower, the new suspension. I sandblasted the spindles, and I also did the rack and pinion. So obviously everything on the front end is just mocked up for now. I wanted to see how it looked, but it'll all have to come out so I can paint the frame. That's gonna be wicked. And I'm not sure if I want to paint the crossmember gray, sort of the same color as the finish it's now, or if I want to paint everything black. I'm sort of leaning more towards the black, but you'll have to let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm super happy the way the rest of the frame turned out. The back half looks amazing. I also got some new bushings for the rear sway bar. That looks cool. The rear end's gonna look just like new as well, so I'm super happy about that. In my opinion, it definitely doesn't look like a chassis that comes out of a backyard garage. It looks like something I bought online and just got delivered, but it's all handmade. It turned out better than I expected, and it's not even done yet, so I couldn't be any happier. Hoping I can paint the rear end this week. I'm also going to try and paint the forelink, and I also would like to finish my brackets for the front end. I made the plates for the base, and now I just have to adapt it to my engine mount, and it's going to be welded to the engine mount and then bolted to the chassis. But after that's done, the chassis is pretty much ready to be painted. I'm just gonna go around the chassis and mark every little blemish like this one, and then I can touch those up, get the chassis all ready, and then I'll paint it hopefully sometime this week or next weekend. As always, we made some good progress on the truck today. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.